The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the hosts and guests may or may not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Miami University.
I am going into my last semester of chemical engineering.
I'm a senior journalism major.
And I'm minoring in supply chain and operations management.
I'm a biochemistry major.
Classes are going great. Extracurriculars are going great.
I'm an RA on campus.
I'm thriving.
Hi, I'm Jason Megacy, and this is Major Insight. This is the podcast where we talk college life with amazing students about how to find your place and purpose on campus. When Clinton Ransom came to college, as a first-generation student, he came with a background that was very different from many of the people he would meet on campus. But that didn't stop him from pursuing his interest in business and finance. And after an internship at Rocket Mortgage landed him an upcoming job at the Chicago real estate firm of Marcus and Millichap, Clinton knew that sales and finance were the right career choices for him. We'll also talk more about learning how to thrive in a new and unfamiliar environment, the benefits of Greek life, and why it's so important to take care of your mental health. For the audience, just give an introduction to yourself, who you are, where you're from.
Definitely. My name's Clinton Ransom. I'm a senior finance major. I'm from Germantown, Ohio. It's a small town just south of Dayton. Finishing up my first semester of senior year right now, and I just accepted a job offer at a commercial real estate brokerage in Chicago and living life, man.
Yeah. We'll get into, the real estate stuff here in a little bit, but how does it feel, finally getting into senior year? I mean, for me, it feels like it's just flown by.
Yeah, it actually feels like literally yesterday I was like waking up in a dorm.
Mm-hmm.
There are always seniors freshman year that would be like, yeah, enjoy your time in Miami, enjoy your time in Oxford, because like you're going to blink and it's just going to be over.
Yeah.
And it actually has been.
It's true. The one thing that I realize about going through college is that all the cliche things that people say, they're only cliche because it's accurate.
Oh, yeah. I wish there was more of it, but I'm also ready to like get into the real world.
Mm-hmm. So let's rewind all the way back. Give a little bit of background on Germantown, your upbringing, all that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah, so Germantown is a very small town, 5,000 people. The way I grew up is like my dad works in a really big steel mill in Middletown, as do like a lot of dads in our town. Like very blue collar upbringing. Neither of my parents went to college. It really like pushed it in my head that like I need to go to Miami or like I need to go to Ohio State, something, and get a degree. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I like, honestly, this sounds bad, but I knew I wanted to like make money.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing to say.
So like the weird thing about Germantown is like, because it is so blue collar, I really did not get to see a lot of like businessmen. Mm-hmm. Like I really didn't even know business was like, I don't know, a pursuable career, or like what I could do there. Just because everyone who was doing business, all I saw was in like TV shows and stuff. So I was like, I'm going to be a doctor, because the only rich people in my town were like doctors or lawyers. And I'm terrible at arguing. I like people way too much. So I couldn't do that. So I was going to be a doctor. And then I saw my buddy Ryan reading a book about, he was reading a book about cancer. And I was like, why are you reading that? And he's like, dude, it's interesting. And literally in that moment, like junior year, it clicked in my head, like, oh my God, I hate science.
Yeah. I can't
Science is so boring.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like obviously like teach their own. There are a lot of bright individuals out there who love it. I am not one of those people. Mm-hmm. I cannot. It just isn't me. So then I was like, what am I going to do with my life? I took one marketing class in high school, one of two business classes my high school offered. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? Like, this is it. Marketing is it. So I made that my major and applied to Miami University, and here we are.
So not seeing any role model or type of person that's like, oh, I really want to do that thing that they're doing as a profession. Mm-hmm. How did that affect you? Yeah,
definitely. So coming into college is like super confusing, trying to figure out what you want to do for anybody, really. Even if you do have those role models and like think you know what you want to do, you'll come into college and you'll take a class here or there, and like either this will pique your interest or like something you thought you wanted to do will just like be the most boring thing ever. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened to me, because I was like, I took that one marketing class in high school and I was like, this is definitely what I want to do. And like the summer before college, I kind of realized like, shoot, what kind of job can I get where I can just like do things I like? Then I like had to figure out things I like, and things I like were like talking to people, like getting to meet new people, creating relationships. So I realized I wanted to do sales, and I thought marketing was my gateway to that. And then I took a marketing class and I realized like how far away.
You're talking about a marketing class here.
Yeah, I took a
correct?
marketing
Okay.
class here at Miami, and I was like, that is not at all what I thought it was. Like, what am I going to do? Like, I know I want to do sales, but how am I going to get there? What business degree do I need? I like kind of thought at that point, like, all right, finance might be the way to go, because I saw some older guys in my fraternity going into sales positions at companies like P&G, and they were finance majors. And I was like, okay, like maybe this will be the most helpful thing for me, like get a good grasp on finance and money, and hopefully like I'll just let my sales skills that I've acquired from just like talking to people do the rest of the work.
Yeah. So kind of talk to me about, you're a senior in high school and, you're considering Miami, you're considering these other places. What other places were you considering, and why Miami ultimately?
Yeah, so I was definitely only looking in state. That's really all I had like the funds for. But my entire life I wanted to go to Ohio State. Like, I'm still a huge Buckeyes fan. But the first time I visited Miami, I was like, this is where I want to go. Like, I walked around this campus and I knew people who went here. I don't know, I just like the culture. Like, I feel like it was such a very much more tight-knit than what I would have gotten at Ohio State, because those were like my final two. And Ohio State was just way too big. I was not going to walk 35 minutes to class. And like, the thing there is like, you don't get a chance to meet as many people or know as many people. Because like here, and people like hate on Greek life a little bit, but I think it's one of the most influential things I've done here in Miami.
Yeah.
Just because like it's allowed me to meet an absurd amount of people.
So after you decide to make the decision to come to Miami for all the reasons you just mentioned, how was that transition for you? What were like the biggest surprises that you found your first semester, even your first whole year of school?
Oof. See, freshman year was without a doubt one of the toughest years. I felt like every other kid I met was from like one, a big city.
Yeah.
Two, an upper middle class family.
Just different from
Like, yeah, dude. Like, they had been to places like around the world, around the country. Like, we are not the same.
It
like,
felt like if everyone had already known the game and we just came in and we had to learn how to play the game.
Yeah. Like, a majority of the kids I graduated high school with, like, I was one of two guys in my high school graduating class to like go to school and rush fraternity. It was mind blowing. It was culture shock. Yeah, honestly. And for such a long time, I was like down on myself over that, kind of like I shouldn't be like around these kids. Like, I'm not like worthy or whatever, which is stupid. And then like probably junior year, like I started using that as like, even though like these kids came from this different backgrounds, yeah, and I came from like this, like we're in the same place right now. It really does not matter.
What things did you do freshman year to navigate these feelings of, you said out of place, just different feelings that you hadn't had before from home?
I didn't try to be what everyone was. I was just like myself, and people enjoyed that. I don't know, I just tried to be the same kid I was in high school, and like guess I like grew up and learned to like not let that bother me, really, because it doesn't matter. There are kids from every background possible at this school, and like you'll find a friend somewhere, even if they're not from the same place as you, same background, whatever.
Facts. Now let's talk about the Delta Chi fraternity. Tell me what it's done for you throughout these 4 years that you've been at school.
Yeah, definitely. So for me, like I found my best friends ever. Some incredible individuals that I hope to stay in contact with until the day I die. People I hope are like standing next to me at my wedding. Like, not only that, like the amount of job opportunities that I found because of former Delta Chi's. Like, I found my internship this past summer and my now job because a guy who was a senior our freshman year, like I hit him up and was like, oh, I want to do this. Hooked me up with somebody and helped me out. I think there are academic, social, relationship benefits, so many great things that come out of Greek life. It just gets a bad rap. I've also gained from being on like exec and being in chair positions so much career experience, like dealing with people, managing people. Like the best sales experience I ever got was being a recruitment chair for a fraternity.
So talk to me about the switch and the motivation for the switch between marketing and finance, and kind of why you gravitated more towards the finance route than the marketing route.
I took a marketing class, and it was very much, it was very broad. Marketing is something where you're figuring out how to reach a large audience of people and how to pitch a certain thing, but you're not dealing with those customers and clients directly. And I wanted to do sales where I am talking to the client, I'm interacting with them, I'm helping them find a solution to their problem, one-on-one. And I didn't know what I wanted to sell, but I knew that understanding the finances behind it, because at the end of the day, everything is a price. Everything is a price. So I just figured finance would be the best thing. Like at the end of the day, like knowing a deep dive into finance would help me so much more when it came to actually selling stuff.
Yeah.
Now knowing what I'm gonna do, it's gonna help me so exponentially to have an incredible grasp on how people finance the things they buy.
So you touched on the Rocket Mortgage internship a little bit. You did this internship with Rocket Mortgage. How do you think that, first off, if you could explain kind of what you were doing?
Yeah. I was a strategic sales intern, and strategic sales is like business development. So a big part of my job and the job of the people I was working with, what they were doing was just like finding any connection possible between home purchasing and other businesses. So like companies like Zillow, where people are like trying to buy homes. But I would just like research all day long, like different companies that would do stuff with home buying or like had some link to it so that they could reach out. And then I would get their phone number and their information, and these salesmen on my team would reach out to them and try to set up partnerships.
Got you. So that perfectly segues into the question that I was going to ask originally. So you did this internship with Rocket Mortgage. How did that help you with your internship last year with the company? What was the company again?
Marcus and Millichap.
Yeah. So how was that kind of a stepping stone at Rocket Mortgage to the one that you're doing now, which is kind of seems to be more tailored into the path that you want to go for your career?
Yeah. I could not have picked a better internship to set me up for what I did, because a majority of what I was doing was either finding contact information for other companies and then updating them in our database, which we use Salesforce. And I got really, really good at finding literally anybody's like name, number, email, LinkedIn. I could even find like where people live. Not gonna lie. Nah, that sounds weird. That sounds weird, but that's like a big part of sales. So like when I came to Marcus and Millichap, what they're doing is the brokers are calling property owners and trying to get them to see if they want to sell their property.
Now, is this just residential or is it like corporate?
These are like commercial properties. So the team I was on, it's an industrial team. So like warehouses, shipping bays, factories, just these big old properties like throughout the middle third of the U.S. really. So
when was the moment that over this past summer when you were in Chicago working for this company that everything kind of seemed to click for you and you're thinking to yourself, this is definitely what I need to be doing? Probably the second or third week, and I was just downright exhausted. But like I was just so happy and I just felt so confident. Like, not gonna lie, like junior year was like pretty rough for me. Confidence was definitely low heading into this internship, but I was like, I'm gonna be in downtown Chicago. I'm gonna be living in the Loop, working in the Loop, walking to work every day, wearing my little suit. I don't know. It made me incredibly happy to be doing what I was doing where I was doing it, because I love Chicago, but also seeing how much like grit my team had. So I loved what they were doing. I thought it was so cool that they were just like helping these people sell their properties, and they're making like fat paychecks off them. Not only that, like they get to tour the properties, they get to go to new exciting cities, see the properties, meet with the people. They're making 250 calls a week. So theoretically, like 20 to 70 of those people are going to stay on the line and talk to you. That's 20 to 70 new people you're meeting a week. I'm like, that is so awesome. So now you have your job lined up after school. You're a senior. What's the most important lesson you've learned?
I think the most important thing that I would tell like anyone, stay attentive to your mental health. Like mental health was something I did not even think about coming into college, and like all these new things were like happening, and like I was lost in a foreign land. Like I was away from home, I was away from my parents, and like I had never felt like so sad before. And then like next thing I know, I'm like, who do I talk to? What do I do? I think last year was the first year I started going to like a therapist, like a mental health specialist, just to talk to them. And like that has been one of the most like important things. And I don't think people talk about it enough, or a lot of people like try to keep it in or just like tough it out. And like that is the worst thing to do, I think. So like just take care of your brain. If I could go back and give myself something, that's what I would say.
Yeah,
like,
and that was gonna be my next question, but you already hit it, and I totally agree, man. I think it's so important to have relationships that you can come to people and talk and say what's on your mind and get that out there, because like you were saying, it's just so unhealthy to keep it inside, dude. Man.
No one wants to say like, oh, I'm sad or I'm anxious or I'm whatever. But like at the end of the day, everyone gets sad or anxious or scared sometimes. Like, just say it. Who cares?
It's a fact of life. It's honestly, I mean, whether you like it or not, it's part of the experience, Yeah. Not just college, but human experience in general.
I was lucky enough to find some friends my freshman year that were much more educated on mental health and things like that than me. And being able to talk to them was really great, because I had never talked about that stuff to like anyone before. Like I said, I had bottled that all up in high school, and like meeting someone my freshman year that was like so educated on anxiety and depression, and I just like found them on my floor. Like honestly, just hanging out with people every day, whether they're educated on that stuff or not, at one point they'll try to help you. And if they can help you, there's resources out there. There's resources through the school. There's resources around Oxford. Yeah. It's one Google search away.
I think one word that, we kind of been dancing around it, but vulnerability also.
Oh, yes.
Like being willing to, kind of open up.
Yes. Being vulnerable is one of the most important characteristics I think a person can have. Honestly, it takes like so much confidence and so much strength to like be vulnerable to someone, to like show them like your weaknesses. And I just think it brings you so much closer to other people.
Yeah. It's all part of the experience, bro.
Exactly, bro.
It's all part of the experience.
Exactly.
Nah, I appreciate you so much, bro. Thank you.
Nah, this has been great. I really appreciate being on here and getting to do a podcast. My first ever podcast. I feel
accomplished. How you feel?
Oh my God, I feel famous.
Yeah.
First off, because I know this is going to go viral.
Now we're going to hype this one up for sure.
Oh my God,
we're going to hype this one up. Clinton Ransom is studying finance at Miami University, and after graduation, he will begin working at Marcus & Millichap, a commercial real estate firm in Chicago. And thank you for listening to Major Insight. If you enjoyed this podcast, share with your friends or anyone interested in navigating college life. Many more episodes are now available wherever you get your podcasts.